So I'll tell you something today which is very significant that we talk about, as you say, oh, this has happened, that has happened. It's all ego, nothing else.
Yeah.
It's our ego that gets hurt and then we suffer. And that's why I put so much emphasis on letting go of our ego. And we can do it consciously. So there is this incident, a real incident, a true story. Long time ago, there was a saint, very famous one called Gurjeet. And how it all started was he was a young boy and his grandmother was on deathbed. So he went to her and said, please give me some wisdom, some advice, something that you learned through your life and that you can pass on that can significantly help me in my life. So she said, well, if there is one thing that I can give you, which is significant and can help you and become a different person, is that now, from today onwards, whatever you do in your life, do it differently than how other people do it. If you are able to do this one single thing in your life, it'll change your life. So the little boy did not understand at that time what it means. And the grandmother said further that, after today, I will not be around to see whether you follow this or not. But I want to see at least one example that if you understood or you're going to do it the way I told you. Do anything in a different manner than other people do. So she looked around and there was an apple lying on the table. She just pick that up and eat it. But eat it differently than how other people do it. So this little boy was confused, but he was willing to try. And children are innovative, creative. As we grow old, our creativity becomes less and less, and a big part of that killing that creativity of the children is the parents, unfortunately. So this boy took this apple. First he put it to his ear, trying to listen to the apple. Then he brought it very close to his eyes and looked it very closely. Then he smelled it. Then he touched it to his heart. And then he stood up with it and danced in that room. And then happily sat down back on his chair and took a bite and ate the apple. The grandmother saw that and said, I'm very happy. I see that you have completely understood my message and that you will follow it in your life. And from there onwards, this one thing transformed this little boy. And as he grew up, he took that message to his heart, and everything he did differently than other people. So he became known as a weird person, that he's doing weird things, like the people don't understand why he's doing this. But he was happy. And in the whole process, when people were criticizing him, he started ignoring them, just focusing on what he is doing and not worried about other people. And one big thing this message carried, like the wisdom that it carried, was that it started killing the ego. Our ego is only when you appreciate me, say for example, you're fulfilling my ego, I respond back and I say, great job, Ali, and then you're also good, I feed back your ego. And this is our biggest obstruction, impediment in our life to grow, or even live peacefully and happily every day. Whenever my ego is not fulfilled, I am hurt. But if I did not have an ego, all these problems would not be there in my life. So what happened in Gurjeet's case was that his ego started going away, because he never got any appreciation from anybody, and because it was only criticism. And he started ignoring the people also, their reactions. So basically his ego was all gone. And as he kind of grew up, this one single thing made him into a different person, and since he was spiritually inclined, he became to be a great saint and a known one for that. And when he grew up, he had a lot of followers, disciples. And one day he took 30 of his disciples in a remote, isolated area and said, I'm going to teach you something. All of you, 30 of you, will be here in this area for the next 3 months. But you have to live in a way as if nobody exists here except you. Other 29 people do not exist at all. You should not even be aware that even a person passes by you, that somebody has gone by. And if you, by mistake, step on somebody's feet, do not stop to apologize because there is nobody. Even if you drop burning coals on somebody, do not stop to apologize or say sorry because there is no one. Although we all wanted that to do in our life, not say sorry about anything. But this was a different situation. That they did not understand why. Says there's some kind of a lesson in there. And says you have to live like this for next 3 months. And this was again the same exercise to take the ego away. Because if nobody is watching me, there's nobody around me, there's nobody to feed my ego. When you say you buy new clothes, you don't wear them at home when there is nobody and then put them back. You want to go out with them so people can see it and appreciate those clothes and feed your ego. But in an isolated, remote area, when you learn the ability to ignore 29 people as they did not even exist, is something that takes an effort and it doesn't feed your ego at all. Those disciples did not understand that this was the whole ultimate goal behind this. But what happened was within a week, out of those 30 people, 27 people left. They said that we felt suffocated, we felt that very uncomfortable, and because they did not understand that this discomfort and this feeling of weirdness is letting go of the ego, the process. And they could not handle it. They left. But the 3 of them who stayed at the end of 3 months became different people. Their ego gone and transformed. They learned how to live their life in a new and a different manner. So this is one thing that we work upon, as I said, through different methods, through meditations, through living our life consciously, to start noticing my reactions. If I do not have the ability, at least spend 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes at the end of the day to review my day, to review my reactions throughout the day. And at least at the end of the day to understand that where I was feeding my ego or where my ego was being fed by others and it was not how it hurt me. And then trying to change the next day. But on your own, it's very difficult to do. That's why we have these tools of Brhamanda yoga to help you do that through different tools of breathworks, meditations. Because if we are able to achieve this one single thing in our life, it can help transform our life in a very big way. And another lesson that, from this is that start doing everything the way nobody else does. And that nobody includes you. So, keep the lessons of life. That doesn't mean I ignore everything that I've learned. No, keep the lessons, the principles around. But using those same principles, be creative, be innovative. That I will do things differently now and success will come. People around you may not understand this. In fact, you may not understand it at that very moment. But the idea is to learn this lesson and bring it in your life. You get up in the morning and say to yourself, today, if not everything, few important things that I'm going to do in my life, I will not do it the same way as I did before or anybody else does it. Then spend some time on yourself and think that these are the 2 or 3 things I will do differently, and then start and think and be creative. That how will I do it differently? And forget about the results. The results will come with persistence, resilience. Most results don't come in people's lives sooner or later because they give up very easily. If you do not kind of give up in between halfway, you will never know where the method that I adopted, the process I was taking was right or wrong, because you give in halfway. So take it to the end and try to do the things differently and stop worrying about what people will say. The day you're able to achieve that, you have done at least half the job of killing your ego.